We will be trying to establish the good values, but for now, in the logical extension of our argument, understand how changing values changes our life. If you can replace defective values with progressive values, with pure values, values aligned with the universal truth, your life becomes blessed. And the most astonishing, amazing example of somebody who transformed his life by changing his values was none other than Alfred Nobel. We all know of the Nobel Peace Prize. Alfred Nobel is famous because he installed the Nobel Peace Prize. However, many people forget that Alfred Nobel was famous for another thing prior to this. What was that? That's right. He was the inventor of the dynamite. And he made millions through the dynamite that he invented. He was called the Dynamite King. An astonishing thing happened in his life. He had a brother in another city. That brother passed away. One press reporter got it wrong. He thought Alfred Nobel has passed away. So he published in the newspaper in the obituary, Dynamite King dies. Out there, he criticized Alfred Nobel that through death and destruction, he earned his millions. Alfred Nobel, when he got up in the morning, drinking tea, having his breakfast, he had the benefit of reading his own obituary. He came to know what the world thinks of him. And that was the transforming moment in his life. He said, "This is awful. Am I going to be remembered in posterity for being the inventor of the dynamite? I have to make changes." That was when he established his foundation and began the Nobel Peace Prize. And that became so famous that it overtook his popularity as being the Dynamite King. His change in values changed the complete course of his life. So that possibility of transforming values does exist. We have discussed the third point in our flow of logic. We can improve. Improvement requires making good decisions. Decisions come from values. We need to have great values. Now, how to create values? Where do values come from? Values are determined by the beliefs we hold. If your belief is, this life is all there is, there's nothing beyond, it will impact your values. If your belief is that no, there is an afterlife and consequences will catch up with us, your values will change. If your belief is there is no creator, there is nobody watching, you will have a set of values. If your belief is God is always watching, it will impact your values. If you believe in the law of karma, it will create a set of values. If you do not believe in any karma, you will have a different set of values. So, beliefs are what determine values. And beliefs are innumerable. We all hold this immense bundle of beliefs. How these beliefs impact us is most incredible. Beliefs are not religion or creed. Beliefs could be about anything. Do you believe that your endeavor, that new business will succeed, or do you believe it will fail? One of the biggest businessmen of the last century, Henry Ford, he said, whether you believe you will succeed or you believe you will not, in both ways you are right. What he meant was, your belief will have such an impact. If you believe you will succeed, it will change the way you think. It will change the way you utilize your physical, mental, intellectual resources. The optimism will get generated, the conviction, the undying enthusiasm which will make you succeed. And if your belief is, I will never succeed, then also you are right, because you will not be able to use your God-given resources to manifest the potential they are capable of. So we all have within us a variety of physical processes, using the 630 muscles and 205 bones. We all have this brain that God has given us, which has got 100 billion neurons. We all have thoughts, attitudes. It is practically impossible to consciously control all of these. Are the beliefs that we install within us. They enable the control. Through your beliefs, you unconsciously control the whole system without realizing it. Your beliefs bring so much to bear in your life. You know, these motivational coaches, they often are fond of giving the example of the 4-minute mile. Up to 1952, humankind believed that nobody can run the mile in less than 4 minutes. There was a 4-minute barrier to the mile. And for 1,000 years, varieties of arguments were given. Our lung capacity is just not enough to run in less than 4 minutes. Our muscles are not strong enough. People believed they can't do it, and they could never do it. Then came this person called Roger Bannister. Roger Bannister, he broke through the 4-minute mile barrier in 1952, changing people's beliefs. All of a sudden, people believed it can be done. And what was the consequence of the change in belief? In that very year, 27 people, apart from Roger Bannister, broke the 4-minute mile barrier. Suddenly, they had this ability to break it. And the next year, 215 people broke the 4-minute mile barrier. Beliefs have such a tremendous effect upon us. To the extent, if people believe they are unwell, they actually become unwell. You know, I discussed this during the Yoga Fest. I don't want to repeat those. But beliefs are such a thing. That is why you have the concept of remembered illness and remembered wellness. What is that? In brief passing, a person takes blood pressure at home and it's absolutely all right, 120/80. Then he goes to get it checked at the doctor's, and the doctor says, you've got a marginal high BP, it's 130/80. It was 120 right now, what happened? This is called white-collar hypertension. The mind believes, I am going to the hospital, there's something wrong with my body. And the belief actually creates the illness. So this is the remembered illness. And then there is remembered wellness. What is remembered wellness? You have throat infection and you get an appointment with the doctor. You go to meet the doctor and you say, I'm having a cough and I'm having an itch. The doctor says, open your mouth and show me the symptoms. You open your mouth and suddenly the symptoms have disappeared. In front of the doctor, they have disappeared. Why? Subconsciously, not consciously. Within, the mind was believing that I am going to the doctor, I will be all right. And the consequence, the body responded to the belief and the symptoms disappeared. So these phenomena are very well known in the medical field, to the extent that schizophrenic patients have been studied. Schizophrenic patients are people with split personalities. Their mind was subjugated to so much pressure that it split into two personalities. Sometimes they believe they are this, and then sometimes internally they transform and they believe they are this. Now, this particular patient, in his dual personality, in one personality, he believed he had diabetes. And when he would live through that personality, his sugar count would actually go up. And then when he would change back to the other personality, the sugar count would also go down. That is the impact of beliefs upon us. So beliefs are so vital to our life. They practically determine the direction we will take.